Most vampire stories tell you that death is the end, but in the world of sinners, death is just the beginning of a much longer, much darker sentence. We're talking about a curse that doesn't just drink your blood, it hijacks your memories, cages your soul, and turns your neighbors into a telepathic hive mind of predators. From its 17th century roots to a blood-soaked night in the 1930s Mississippi, today we're breaking down the full history and terrifying biology and the ancient laws governing the vampires of sinners. This is the definitive guide to the vampires of the world of sinners. The origins of the sinner's infection are intentionally murky, but the breadcrumbs point back to the 17th century. We know this because of Remick, a creature who has clearly been stalking the earth for hundreds of years before arriving in the American South. The real story begins in 1932 in the humid backdrop of Clarksdale, Mississippi, and Remick, a man out of time, is being hunted by the Choctaw tribesmen when he makes a calculated move. He seeks shelter with a KKK couple, Bert and Joan. There's a dark irony here. The couple's decision to protect a stranger from the Choctaw is exactly what seals their fate. The moment the sun dips below the horizon, Remick turns them, transforming a house of hate into a house of monsters. This small cell of vampires is eventually drawn to a local juke joint, not by blood, but by music. They are lured by the supernatural guitar playing of a young man named Sammy, whose melodies have the power to bridge time itself. What follows is a night of manipulation and slaughter that ends with most of the town converted, leaving only a few survivors to witness Remick's eventual destruction at dawn. In this universe, becoming a vampire isn't just a biological change, it's a spiritual imprisonment. According to the voodoo practitioner Annie, the curse effectively cages a human soul inside its own dead body, denying it entry into the afterlife. While the victim keeps their memories and personality, the infection acts as a megaphone for their darkest and most malevolent impulses, and they become predatory, empathy-free versions of their former selves. The physical transformation is equally deceptive, and these vampires look perfectly human, which allows them to hide in plain sight. It's only when they reveal themselves that you see the glowing eyes and the rows of fangs that seem to multiply within their mouths. Some, like the bouncer cornbread, can unhinge their jaw into a mass of serrated teeth, while Remick possesses razor-sharp claws. Perhaps the most chilling trait is their biological stasis, as we see with Stack and Mary in 1992. They don't age a single day, remaining frozen in the year that they were turned. The true strength of these creatures lies within the hive mind, and this isn't just a simple telepathic link, it's a shared consciousness managed by Remick himself. Every memory, every desire, and every skill learned by one vampire is instantly available to the entire group. This is best illustrated when Remick infects Bo Chow and immediately gains the ability to speak Chinese. They are a single organism with dozens of bodies. Beyond the mental link, they are incredibly difficult to put down. They possess supernatural healing, which means they can recover from gruesome injuries like facial burns from the sun or silver shrapnel in the brain in just a matter of hours. Enhanced senses, they can literally smell death on a person and have perfect vision in total darkness. Physical superiority, which means Remick is seen leaping massive distances and even levitating, showcasing a level of mobility that makes escape nearly impossible. Dietary versatility, which means while they have a primal and animalistic drool, when they sense a victim, they aren't restricted purely by blood. They can still enjoy a drink at a bar, suggesting that they keep some of their human habits simply for pleasure. Despite their dominance, these vampires are shackled by ancient laws, a set of metaphysical rules that levels the playing field for humans. The most vital rule is the requirement of invitation. A vampire is physically blocked from entering a home unless they are explicitly invited in by a human, a common trait and a typical rule in most vampire lore and other media, such as TV shows like Vampire Diaries and other vampire-like films. If they step outside, that pass is revoked, and they need a new invitation to return. This is why they rely so heavily on manipulation and masquerading as traveling musicians. When it comes to direct combat, they have very specific triggers. garlic, as it acts like an acid, burning through their flesh on contact, silver and holy water, as these traditional sanctified weapons cause severe, lasting trauma, sacred pendants, as certain religious talismans create a push effect, physically repelling a vampire from the wearer, the final death, as there are only two ways to truly end them. A wooden stake through the heart is a guaranteed kill, but the most effective weapon is sunlight, and direct exposure causes them to instantly combust, turning their immortal bodies into nothing but ash. The vampires of sinners are a reminder that some things are worse than death, like being frozen in your worst moment for eternity, and in the end, even with the gift of immortality, Stack and Mary couldn't convince Sammy to join them. He chose a natural end over a soulless forever, but what do you think? If you were in that Jukes joint, would you have taken the deal for immortality or stood your ground with Smoke and Annie? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the lore of your favorite horror hits, and I will see you in the next one.
I'll see you soon.